The importance of liquidity for banks and short sellers will be covered in this movie. For those of you who don't know, Ripple, a cryptocurrency, is apparently forming a significant cooperation with Bank of America, the second largest bank in the United States. They clearly want to collaborate with them to accept XRP and then use their tokens. In this video, another short seller explains how short sellers are attempting to alter the regulations, among many other things. When Citadel puts them in a situation where they are unable to accomplish this, we will first examine this thoroughly. Now, the reason I'm talking about this isn't to criticize or disparage XRP. Rather, it's to help us understand the current situation they're in. Robert M. discusses how Citadel put them in a situation from which they are unable to recover. So, first we must recognize that Bank of America is the primary lender of cattle. We've discussed this previously and are aware of how it is evident that Citadel is exposed to a high degree of risk because Bank of America genuinely owns or controls more than 70% of their assets. Just as we have talked about how successful they are while producing billions of dollars, we have also talked about how exposed they are since they still have to issue bonds and borrow money to pay their investors. As a result, it is evident that they are not in a good position, and if Citadel is not in a good position, the money they are borrowing from the other counterparty will also be in a bad position. It's also known as Bank of America. A partnership with XRP would obviously have a bullish effect on XRP. But as I mentioned earlier, the focus is not on Ripple, but rather on realizing that if a bank that was so opposed to cryptocurrency from the beginning and didn't want to adopt any, would want to acquire cryptocurrency, then want to actually partner with another company that has another cryptocurrency at a time when we are witnessing the illiquidity issue, the fact that Bank of America is acting in this way makes it very evident that they are not in a strong position due to their counterparties, also known as Citadel, and of course, other dangerous companies that are out there. You can also see that this took place on the 16th of Jan. It also demonstrates that the settlement and illiquidity issues we have been discussing lately account for a large part of how and why they wish to adopt a cryptocurrency. It's a pretty good illustration of where we are at the moment and how reverse repos are declining. For those of you who don't understand, we have just been discussing the importance of liquidity, which basically relates to how shorts can obtain funds to manipulate AMC. One straightforward argument is that these shorts will have a harder time influencing AMC if they have more liquidity. This is how the actual pricing will appear in AMC. The drop in reverse repo indicates an increase in liquidity as we get closer to our objective. Our AMC War of Shame website has undergone yet another modification. Greetings, HB Research and Nate Anderson. As of right now, there has been a significant development. It is evident that another short seller has collaborated with both AMC and GME. They were immediately removed. This is important because it explains why we are still involved in this. Issue confirms that the short selling are trapped. At first, we observed these short sellers targeting AMC, but they were taken down and we didn't see any further activity. You could argue that obviously the short squeeze is over that they've covered their positions well. We know that's not the case. We have seen plenty of different other proofs that obviously show that, but the fact that we are seeing short firms actually being taken out is a whole different story, because what we can understand is that these positions are getting bigger. These positions are getting deadlier. Shorts are not able to handle it, and like we said, we always knew that the ones who really control AMC, the ones that we need to actually take out in order for AMC to squeeze, are obviously the ones that are up there, like Citadel, like banks, are obviously involved, and so you know they are kind of the final boss, as you will, that we obviously needs to get to, and, we're getting there one step at a time, but the fact that we are seeing short sellers actually starting to fail because of these swaps, because of these short positions, it definitely shows that. What we've been talking about, what we've been doing is obviously and clearly working to the fact that we are still seeing the manipulation, and that is a show of how shorts are obviously worried, and that's why they need to do this. The $5 trillion hedge fund industry is requesting changes, so their rollbacks would add a 6-month delay to disclosure requirements, including those that were disclosed to regulators regarding what shop bets funds have against stocks and their rate of change. They also need to understand why they are worried. It's already clear how ridiculous this is. but it's also clear how desperate these hedge funds are acting. We've had the CAT system, which is obviously supposed to bring transparency. We've talked about how firms that are, of course, shorting over a certain size will have to report on their short positions every single month. So what we have been seeing coming into 2025, and of course going to the future, is essentially more transparency now. Clearly the shorts are worried. So why are they worried about transparency? Because surely transparency wouldn't do anything, you know? You're just doing what you've been doing, but you're letting other people understand that's the same thing with longs, but you're doing it with shorts, if there's nothing wrong with longs. What's going on with the short? Well, clearly we can understand that. What they don't want to be, of course, is transparent about is the stuff that isn't allowed. It's the manipulation. It's the suppression that will normally be deemed as illegal, unethical, and of course more, but because they don't disclose. Nobody knows, so nobody gets penalized. And because, like we talked about, the very fact that we've talked about the CAT system being implemented, we talked about how the monthly report of short positions yet. They want to do a 6-month delay on disclosure requirements. Numerous things can occur over a 6-month period. Their capacity to alter the data is demonstrated by past incidents. They take short positions at first, but before the reporting deadline, they reset the timer in the position to avoid exposing these positions or other variables. Since it previously escaped notice in this way, it will appear as though no short positions were recorded on paper. If the price of a stop declines and no short positions are shown, we erroneously believe that people are selling even when this is not the case. A lot may happen in 6 months, and the panic that short sellers exhibit, particularly their contradictory desire for greater and less transparency, tells us a lot about their intent to deceive, stifle, and exploit small investors. AMC's ownership, including whether it is held by individuals or organizations, can also be examined. Of AMC's 350 million float shares, 200 million are more than 10,000 shares. Institutions own 57.3% of the business, compared to ordinary investors' 42.7% ownership. Obviously, this shouldn't be feasible. As previously demonstrated, the majority of the AMC float has consistently been held by individual investors. We have observed this with other brokers, including Robinhood, Webull, and Yahoo. However, the fact that institutions possess a greater share is becoming increasingly obvious. Despite this being inaccurate, it is not surprising because short holdings have been classified as long positions by banks, brokers, and other institutions. Classifying short positions as long positions would result in a significant increase in ownership, exceeding the permitted 10% limit, since institutions have frequently shorted more than 40% to 50% above the float. If those investments were categorized as long-term and deemed ownership, we would understand the rationale for the unusually high level of institutional ownership. Despite the fact that it seems unreasonable, thank you for watching. I'll see you all again shortly.